Please, you can start. Hi.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our course. As Elena just said, my name is Sergey Kozlov. I'm head of DeFi practice at Distributed Lab. We will have 10 lectures dedicated to DeFi. The first one is just general overview of what it is. And the whole lectures will be more kind of technical and economic model oriented. So we're not teaching how to earn, but we are teaching how it works and what are the principles, what are the key ideas behind each protocol, each technology. So first, let's start with definition. Decentralized finance, quite easy. DeFi. When we say this, we mean, first of all, that we actually replace traditional intermediaries and trust mechanism. What is it? It's generally speaking, banks, for example. When we're talking a classical finance system, how it's working today, I'm a depositor, you are one alone. We do not interact directly P2P, we interact through the intermediary. We both trust. I trust to the bank and bank trust you, giving you the loan. So that's how it works. Centralized finance is different. So we do not use any intermediaries. And actually we replace this middleman by the software. The most of the protocols and the most successful applications are today, actually, that's the standard working on Ethereum blockchain and use so-called smart contracts. So in DeFi, the code is law. Next point, that's my point of view. What to expect in the future, this year, maybe beginning of the next year. First, I think that the centralized platform, derivatives platform, and options are gonna be developed. And today we already have quite, and we will talk about it later about on derivatives topics, that actually this marginal trading platforms like GMX, options trading platforms like Quanta are expanding. Today volumes are not extremely high, but in comparison to the centralized exchanges, for example. But still, I think that's the future behind this type of platforms. Then, of course, regulated DeFi, because as the TVL, so-called total value locked money, locked in DeFi, is expanding, regulators around the world are looking at it and trying to regulate. So it's always better to, let's say, be in line with regulation, but how to do it, it's not easy for decentralized systems. That's also the trend. Somehow institutional investors have to work with DeFi too. Then decentralized identification, it's connected to regulation and reputation based on ZK. ZK is zero knowledge technology. And there is a kind of a problem when we use public blockchains like Ethereum, or maybe some L2 solution, or maybe even Solana. And we want to work with the private data, for example, your name, your number of UID document, and we do not want to reveal it to the general public, to anyone who can go to Blockchain Explorer, take the transaction and read all your identification data. That's not correct. So ZK, zero knowledge, allows to work with it, allows to combine these two. It seems like not comparable things, not possible to work together, but with ZK it's possible. The next point is continued growth and adoption of rollups, so-called, and even last month, April, March, we've seen this kind of explosion of a few ZK zero knowledge proof Ethereum virtual machines launched. One of them from Polygon, ZK EVM Era, as far as I remember. And of course, optimistic rollups, the airdrop of Arbitrum blockchain is also giving traction to this blockchain. Then real world assets in the decentralized accounting systems. By this, I mean that that's MakerDAO, the issuer of DAI stablecoin, doing a lot of stuff there when you have something in real world, meaning real estate somewhere in the US, and you can use it as a collateral, and the protocol issues you stable coins, which you may use it in developing the business with quite interesting success, interesting and low rates, actually, even comparing to traditional banking system loans provided. Then next topic, the sixth one, the liquid staking derivatives. After Shanghai upgrade, it's now possible to unlock your Ethereum, which you may use in proof of stake Ethereum consensus, and it's kind of explosion. And recent week I read that even the total value locked in liquid staking is #1 now, after DEXs, after lending platforms, and all the rest parts of DeFi ecosystem. And the last point is NFT financialization. In this crypto winter, NFT had quite a hard time, but still, if you have something like CryptoPunk or this Bored Apes, then you might want to use it as a collateral. You might not want to sell it and use the money to do anything, to develop business, even to buy real estate or anything else. So coming back to where we are in the global scale, I think that we are not, it's still very early days. We have maybe 100 million crypto users today, but if we look coming to in let's say 7-8 years to 1 billion, I think that it's going to be developed, and I do believe in DeFi. I was working in banks for about 20 years in classical one, and for recent 5 years I'm in DeFi, and I see this staggering difference between the classical approaches and the DeFi approaches, and I do believe that DeFi is the future of finance. So let's try to compare DeFi and the centralized finance. The basic principle is that in centralized finance, not your keys, not your money. And even there's no keys, actually, if you go to the bank and bring a deposit. In DeFi, you have your keys, it's your money. So it's trustless, built on blockchain and smart contracts protocols. In classical brick and mortar banks, you have to go, but now everyone, me including, I mostly use mobile banking, but still I have to go to the bank once a year just to bring new documents and this type of stuff. Another point of DeFi is that it's really open ecosystem. So it's built as an open ecosystem. Everyone understands how to interact with the smart contracts. The standards of interaction is universal, so it's universal Web3 API. On the other hand, in CeFi, that's closed, locked in centralized systems. They're secured by firewalls, very limited open parts. And even though we have this kind of regulator initiatives to force banks to open, it's not going well. And why? Because the classical bank is trying to lock client inside. It doesn't want the client go to the other bank to buy another products. But in DeFi, on the other hand, it works different. So all the protocols connect to each other, use each other leverage, and they can actually build on one another. So it's real ecosystem which is interconnected. Global reach, no borders. That's also clear. And when you go to the bank, you operate in specific jurisdiction. If you do not have right ID, they will not open you the bank. It won't work for you. And of course, in centralized finance, any transactions can be blocked, or reverted. Funds can be frozen, even confiscated at any moment. So it's possible, even if it will never happen to you, but it might happen anytime. So it's total closed systems. No one except insiders has permissions. If you're not working in a bank, you cannot work with it. But on the other hand, in DeFi, it's fully transparent system. Everyone involved can see the full set of transactions. And we see that Even the companies like Celsius, which trying to work in with the crypto, but initially they were closed, and you see them now in the bankrupt. But the real DeFi protocols like Aave, Compound, they are transparent, and if some problems happens, everyone sees it, and it's clear. So it's not, DeFi is working better. Total value locked in DeFi in 2002, before the Luna crash, we had up to $200 billion US. Now it's about $50 billion, so it's not too much. It's like a huge one of the well, okay, top banks. But if we compare it to the market to other markets like DeFi, well, here we see that it's 100 billion, doesn't matter. The gold is 10 trillion. The stock market is almost 80 trillion. So you see that this the potential, and that we are really in the very early days of DeFi. So it's just getting started. So you're in the right place to study it, to learn it, to understand how it works, because that's the future of finances. Where the most money locked, actually it's on Ethereum, it's 60%. And if we look at other blockchains, the best set, that's for Binance Smart Chain, 11%, Tron, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Polygon. Most of these networks are Ethereum standard, so it's EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine Standard. So we see that the fact is that Ethereum is the industry standard now, even though we have some networks like Solana, and they also have DeFi, but again, there's another language. It's not Solidity, and therefore it's much more difficult to develop this type of platforms. What is DeFi? DeFi, we know that it works with the tokens, so it's like always tokenization of the tokens. The basic building block is always a token. So when we issue, for example, the DAI, that's a stable coin with Ethereum collateral, then we can put this DAI into some protocol. Let's say it's Alchemix Finance Vault. This vault send us to our wallet another token. It's all USD, and this all USD can be also used in other protocols. So we see that for one real collateral Ethereum, we produce like a few dollars of additional tokens. So this is the value. Coming back to opportunities, that's this open ecosystem. That's the invention of AMM, a decentralized exchange. We will talk about it in details, how they are working. When you do not need more sending assets to centralized platforms. Of course, rise of DeFi banks, but it's not a real bank, because the bank is the entity which has the license from the central bank. Here we talk about lending protocols, Aave, Compound, derivatives platforms, and of course global reach. But there is a problems, because when we trying to build real open system, the real issue is hacks and exploits. Being exploited. The last one is 0VIX protocol. I even had some Matic there, and imagine that I was just going to withdraw some Matic from this protocol, lending protocol, and then it doesn't give me I cannot withdraw it. But in fact, someone actually withdrew a few $1 million during to, as far as I understand, price oracle exploit. Scalability issues, high cost of transaction on Ethereum, and you see in this picture that simple transaction, it's $4. Maybe now it's a little bit cheaper, but sometimes it's $4, sometimes it's $1, sometimes maybe 50 cents, but still it's quite expensive. So I was doing some interactions with Ethereum, with the lending protocol, and I spent $60 US. And you know, it was pain. So it was really pain to spend $60 just to make a few transactions on Ethereum. And of course, the problem is regulatory issues, know your client policy, compliance. It's coming, we cannot avoid it, and we need solutions for this. What are the building blocks? Some people call it money Lego. DeFi is sort of money Lego, and we're building from different protocols, building blocks, the final product. So first, that's the stable coins. It started 1917. USDT started even earlier, even before Ethereum. They had some colored token on Bitcoin blockchain. Then, of course, Uniswap and automated market makers, then lending protocols, DeFi banks, then derivatives. Then on top of that, we can build yield aggregators, and of course, DeFi analytics, because somehow we need to analyze what's happening on accounts, on our accounts. So the first topic, each topic I will go through it very quickly, but then on each topic we will have a separate lecture with we will dive into details. Stable coins, we can talk about fiat-backed stable coins and crypto-backed, even algorithmic. Here, that's the old picture. Some of these protocols are not more actually active. And if we go to the up-to-date rating, we see that USDT, USDC, BUSD, that's all fiat-backed stable coins, and only the fourth one, the DAI, is real crypto-backed. We also have kind of hybrid, so it's backed by USDC and partially by another token, FXS. That's the Frax, that specific one. But the volumes are quite high, and we see here that the first one, USDT, has a 81 billion market cap. BUSD was very popular, but after some regulatory issues with US government, they actually are kind of trying to at least close the business. So they're descaling. And what are the key models, and how do we put our stablecoins protocols in compare them? So first, we have this type of over collateralized and under collateralized, meaning that we have excessive collateral and we do not have enough collateral to cover one-to-one. So it's $1 real dollar value for $1 of issued token. Again, it's all tokens. For USDT, USDC, it's ERC20 tokens, Frax, DAI, SUSD. That's also tokens on, for example, Ethereum blockchain. But if it's USDT and USDC, we see that it's a centralized issuer. It means that there is a real company registered in some jurisdiction and which have this one-to-one backing. So they issue 100 USDT and they have real 100 value US dollars at some bank, real bank. So it's kind of very simple model. And we have decentralized issuer, that's Frax, DAI, and we also talk about it later. So it's when anyone can be issuer of this token, meaning that for DAI, if you have Ethereum, you can go to so-called CDP collateral deposition. You can put money into this position, put your collateral Ethereum, and issue DAI. Fiat-backed, how do we make sure that it's working? So it's honest with us. So it's proof of so-called proof of funds, meaning that we have the balance, we have early or quarterly or even monthly audit by separate independent auditor company, and they tell us that everyone is fine. So for every dollar issued token, they have the real dollar value on real accounts. So that's how it's working. Asset-backed stable coins, MakerDAO, and this is the vault where we can see that we put Ethereum, got some DAI, we have collateralization ratio, All this stuff I will explain you in details. So it might seem not easy, but it's really easy in concept as soon as you understand how it works. Next, the second, our topic is automated market makers. Before appearance of these protocols, when you want to exchange one token to another, you had to send tokens to centralized exchange. But we remember that not your keys, not your money. So when you send it to central exchange can block your crypto, ask you questions, ask for ID, or do whatever they want actually. Here you do not need centralized entity anymore. You can do all on smart contracts. So we have liquidity providers on one side and the trader, actually those who change one token for another on the other side. And Uniswap pool is actually liquidity pool. That's the smart contract where we have two tokens and you exchange one token for another, and liquidity provider is actually incentivized by the fee. So when you trade, when you change, you pay the fee, and this fee goes to the liquidity provider. So that's why the economic actually motive for liquidity provider to put liquidity into this smart contracts pools. The trader again makes actual exchange, pays the fee. That's how it works. That was the second version. The third version is concentrated liquidity. Not go into details, but that's another, let's say, version of the protocol which allows you to use your assets, a liquidity provider, with a higher efficiency, simply by concentrating your liquidity in certain price ranges. That's how it works. That's the advantage of the third version of Uniswap with the second one. Lending protocols, DeFi banks, that's what I like most of all because I was working in the banks, so I do understand them. And we have our own protocol, defina.com. You can go to the site and check it's working. That's for test purposes, but it's working with the real money. It's on Binance Smart Chain, deployed on Binance Smart Chain. And that's the general idea of any bank. Here we have 4 assets, and you can add assets, deposit it, supply asset to the pool, and you can take a loan. But in difference with the classical banks on the centralized platforms, protocols, you always need the collateral. So because we don't know who you are, it's smart contracts, you have to put, for example, again, Ethereum, maybe Bitcoin as a collateral, and you may take the stablecoin as a loan. So that's how it works now. And again, it's tokens on the tokens. So here is the concept of interest-bearing tokens. We also talk about it. What does it mean? You have 100 DAI, that's stablecoin, basically that's $100 US. You see that you can earn 12% APR. If you put it into the protocol, so you send it to the smart contract, to the liquidity pool of Defina. Again, Defina will issue DAI, liquidity provider DAI. But this LP DAI, they're kind of accruing interest inside. So it means that in your wallet, you will have this 100 DAI, but in a year, you can exchange this 100 LP DAI, not to 100 DAI, but 112 DAI with interest earned for the year. That's another protocol, Compound, supply and borrow. And you see that we have lots of protocols, Defina, Compound, Aave, Balancer, Curve, and some others. And in all these protocols, they always issue their own LP tokens. C tokens for Compound, A tokens for Aave, DPT for Balancer, and for Uniswap, if you are a liquidity provider, you also get LP tokens, which might be used in turn as a collateral, as medium of exchange, whatever you want. Another very interesting feature of decentralized finances and this DeFi summer, when it started, it's actually liquidity mining or farming or staking, lots of names. But generally, the idea is that you send your assets, your crypto assets, to the protocol, to the smart contract, and you get interest rate not only in this specific asset. For example, here for Avi, I'm sending DAI, I get 10% interest rate in DAI, but additionally, I get free and 33% interest rate in their own token, in Avi governance token. So that's how it works. In general, in classical bank, it's not possible. You cannot go to JP Morgan or, I don't know, Bank of America, bring a deposit in US dollars, and they will give you interest rate not only in US dollars, but in shares of Bank of America. So it's not possible for me. I didn't hear that this type of things happen, but here it's possible. And therefore they boost interest rate, and they can attract more users, more actually those who want to earn this high APRs, but too high APRs, it's bad. So that's not working. And that's one of the features of DeFi. Curve staking, that's the same thing. You see here that you can claim SNX, that's one token. You can claim CRV, that's the governance token of the curve. So that's all liquidity mining. Flash loans also, it's not possible in the classical banking, but in the blockchain world, you can do this when you do not provide any collateral for the time of one block in one transaction. You can take $100 million loan, do something with this loan, turn it back in the same transaction, in the same block, and that's it. That's possible. By the way, that's the major problem for the all hacks, specifically these flash loan attacks. Derivatives and liquid staking. So before Ethereum in last September 2002 went the merge stage and went to proof of stake algorithm, you couldn't earn some interest. Well, you could on the Beacon chain, but even, well, let's say before the Beacon chain was launched, the only way to earn Ethereum it was to actually mining, the proof of work mining. I myself had some miners for the Ethereum, but after that, if you have Ethereum, you can stake it to the Ethereum node, which now requires 32 Ethereums, Ethers, and you can take part in block production, in functioning and protecting the blockchain, and you get some reward for this. And liquid staking, the LIDAR was the first protocol, which actually what they did, you send them Ethereum and then give you back, guess what, staked Ethereum token. So that's how it works. And the staked Ethereum tokens is almost one-to-one with the simple Ethereum, with the real one. So that's the idea of liquid staking. You get 4.5% interest rate, and you actually have all your liquidity on your address, ST-ETH, you see. So at the time of the screenshot, they had around $8 billion staked Ethereum. That's all the protocols. It's not just LIDAR, it's the centralized protocols like exchanges, Coinbase. Rocket Pool is the centralized one with Frax. I do like Frax specifically because they have very interesting two-token tokenomics, which allows them to pay you more rewards than all the others protocols. And from derivatives, the options, opin.co, they also have the real options. What is options? If you don't know, we will talk about it later. Options, that's actually the financial product when you buy a right to sell or to buy a specific token in the future with a specific price. So that's how it works. And these quite complex financial products, which are very popular in the classical financial world, now they are also have their decentralized models, and it's working. Yield aggregators, for example, idle finance vaults. That's how DeFi works. And actually, what's the idea behind is that you have a few protocols, let's say lending ones, and in addition to that, you actually can you have different interest rates for the same asset. For example, for DAI, you have 10% interest rate APR on Compound, 12 on Aave. So it makes sense to take all your DAI from Compound, bring it to Aave. But if you will do it alone with not quite huge amount of money, then you spend more on transactions. This protocol automates it for you. So you simply put your DAI into idle protocol, and they do this shuffle, this moving of assets from hunting for the best interest rate for you. So that's how it works. DeFi analytics. There are a few websites like dbank.com, Zapper FI. I specifically very like dbank.com. Dbank.com. There are rumors that they will have their own token, so it makes sense if you have some assets to register with them, to send. They have specific service for sending so-called messages from one user to another. You may also play with it. So if sometime in the future they will have the airdrop of their own token, you might receive one. So I myself used Arbitrum, so I got the minimum amount of Arbitrum tokens and Optimism also a year ago. So it was quite good experience when you use something new. And again, Ethereum and all other Ethereum compatible networks, Optimism, Arbitrum, they're very transparent. So you can see what happens with any account. And this account, for example, at the time of screenshot had $5 billion US. And you can see in which protocols these assets are distributed. So generally that's Aave, TrueFi, Liquidity, and some other protocols. The Pancake, that's the DEX, decentralized exchange. The Curve, that's also DEX, but specific one for stable coins. Venus, that's the lending protocol for Binance Smart Chain. SushiSwap, that's the fork of Uniswap v2. So this is how it works. Now coming back to the problem of high transaction costs. As I told you, the solution is so-called side chains, and the L2 level 2 blockchains. Polygon is the side chain. They have their own the coin, so-called, that's the Matic one. And here you see that lots of solutions and rollups, lots of them using ZK zero-notch proof technology, but by the transaction volume today, the optimistics rollups, so-called fraud proofs, if we read it here, so that's the first one, and the third one, Optimism and Arbitrum, they are today the most popular. ZK is gaining traction, but it's really complex in terms of math and technical realization technology. But anyway, that's the future, because for the Optimism Arbitrum, you need maybe a few days to withdraw, to send assets from Arbitrum Optimism to Ethereum. But for ZK technology, you need maybe no more than an hour, 60 minutes, and that's it. And here, that's you see the graphic for the rise of the fees paid by L2 rollups on Ethereum. Again, what's the idea? Is that the Optimism Arbitrum and all ZK rollups, they are protected by the Ethereum, so they have almost as much protection as the Ethereum network. Why? Because they send the proof for what happened on the Arbitrum 1, on Optimism, or on ZK rollup to the Ethereum. And today, up to 7% of all Ethereum fees actually paid by rollups. But in turn, on rollup, you pay much less fees. So for making transaction on Arbitrum or Optimism, you pay maybe 20 cents, maybe 12, something like this. But on Ethereum, you will pay the 10th fold. So you pay $1, $2. So it's much more expensive. And the KYC, compliance, AML issues, again, that's if you want to use blockchain, open blockchain for some criminal activity, do not recommend that, do not do that. So it's not the right place. Why? Because now it's all traceable. Even though you might use some mixers or something else, still there is ways to track you. And financial institutions has specific providers like Crystal, and they may say for each address on Bitcoin or on Ethereum to provide you the risk level of this account and give you the idea if this account makes sense to work with it or not. Because if actually money was stolen, then even though they are not blocked, you will not be able to use it, because they will be tracked. And as soon as you send it to some centralized exchange, they will be immediately blocked. Because all centralized exchanges use this type of tools like Crystal blockchain tool for compliance and regulations. So that's it for today. If you have questions, I'm ready to answer. If no, our next topic will be stablecoins. We will talk specifically about the fiat-backed stablecoins, the algorithmic one, and the Frax, and how it's built, how it's working, what are the pros and cons of each model. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for a lot, Sergey. Today, you have a test and be attentive. Each answer is presented as multiple choice, but it is not always the case. Additionally, if you select, for example, 2 options out of 3 correct ones, the entire questions will not be counted. This, I don't know, about how Google Forms works. Initially, the test results may seem low, but you'll understand how we ask the question. And of course, we will provide the presentation. Therefore, you have whole week to complete this test, this quiz. We wish you good luck and see you soon if you don't have questions. Thank you. We're waiting half of minutes for your question.
Thank you. If you have any, let's say, topics you want to hear, something you don't understand, you want to understand, I will pay specific attention. We will talk about it. So just write to us. We are flexible in this way. So we are just want to bring as much value as possible to you.
Okay. So I turn off our recording.